thank you so much for joining us today. And sincere apologies for this inconvenience you have seen so far. We tried to come online, but there's some technical problem I couldn't manage. So now we are back. Fine. Now, I'm Rehan from Chipkoo.com platform. We are currently running Ramzan Ask Mission, where we talk about new normal. How new normal after coronavirus time, after a great pause, I call it a great pause, how the life would be. What could be the impact, what we have seen in the last few months? We call it the new normal. And let's talk about what are the impact in our daily life. So we successfully ran our first live Ramzan Ask Mission session with guest mentor Hassan Qureshi. Now, today I'm back with the new exciting episode with Mr. Nick Jones. I'm personally privileged to have him today because he's my mentor. If I see myself as a successful person in my life, he's the man who helped me a lot, along with other people. But no second thought. Nick helped me by working for him. It was a completely different time, but I learned a lot. So today's topic is networking or building relationship in the new normal world. One of the best way to find the right job is by building relationship through networking. When we meet with people, we tap the new market. We understand what's happening in what company are they looking for any opportunity. That's the easiest way, and that is the quickest way. Many because we have a new ways of working, working style, a lot of transformation. So networking has also completely changed after coronavirus or COVID-19. I can say after this great pause, we'll be meeting people not in person mostly, but in a digital networking. So let's hit the road. Ask Nick what and how he thinks what could be the best way to tackle this networking in the new normal world. Hello, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's again
Rehan.
as a privilege.
It's lovely to be with you, and Ramadan Kareem to everybody.
Thank you so much. Nick, first
Very
of all,
cool.
thank you because you are one of the founding member of Chipkoo.com, the time we have seen. So, and we discussed a couple of times before. What do you think? If I ask your opinion, what do you think? How, because it's a bit panic time, right? How do
Yeah.
we remain calm and positive in this situation where every news is negative? We always try to see, we have seen the impact on industry, economy is it's just like a recession. What do you think?
Yeah. So very briefly, I'll introduce myself. I'm head
Please.
of critical asset security at TUI Travel, and the reason I wanted to introduce myself because I work for a travel company, and it's a crazy time to
Okay.
be working for a travel company, right? We're the largest package holiday company in Europe. We've got 1,800 hotels, 150 aircraft, 16 cruise ships, and nothing's operating. I think we opened one hotel in Malaysia. I think we've got 50 guests there at the moment, and that's it. That's the only operation that we've got, and costs are going out of the door. So yeah, it's a crazy time. However, I think what's interesting about this time is there's lots of companies that are doing very well. So insurance companies, healthcare companies, supermarkets, security companies, the collaboration providers, the
Absolutely. Yeah.
likes of Zoom has gone
Yes.
through the roof. I think whilst there are certain industries that are massively impacted, there are lots of industries that are doing well. So yeah, it is a different time, and I think we're going to have to think differently in this particular environment, and especially as we go forward. I think one of the things that we've observed is companies were starting to do a little bit of home working and a little bit of flexible working. I think we've brought that forward almost 5 years. We're all working at home at the moment. We're all using new technologies. We struggle today to
True.
get new
Absolutely. Yeah.
technology to work. Again, a new technology. So I think I think there is a lot of change, but I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of positivity that we can take out of this. And I think
Absolutely.
this has created a whole lot of digital opportunities that perhaps were not there in the past. One of the things that our industry is looking at now is how do we start again? How
Hmm.
do we do health tracking? All of the countries around the world are
Okay.
looking at how we do health tracking. I think Singapore has probably been the most effective. Australia's launched something.
Yeah.
We've got a trial going on in the UK and the Isle of Wight. And all this is completely new technology. There's privacy issues with it. There's security issues with it. And so I think whenever there's those kind of things going on, there's a lot of opportunities for developers, for people who think differently to come up with better solutions. Is it centralized versus decentralized? All of this discussion's going on at the moment. So there's an opportunity to be part of that discussion. And I think there's going to have to be things like health certificates that come up in the future. So if I'm going to get an aeroplane, the people who are on the aeroplane want to know that I'm not going to infect them. It's going to be. So how do we track that? Because as soon as I've been tested and I walk out of the hospital or the testing center, potentially my testing is old now. So I think that there's got to be a technology link with a health certificate to change things.
So absolutely makes sense, Nick. So it would affect our day-to-day life, because that's why you call it a new normal, and people will start building trust and confidence and meeting. That's the social distancing or physical distancing. But do you think that would affect the business? Because we were used to go office, right? Just like it was a normal life. 9 o'clock, we have to be at work. Perfect. Interacting with people, coffee, building relationship, network. That's what we were used to. But what do you think? How we will be doing in a month or a couple of months' time, when this lockdown will ease across globe? What do you think? And how was, in your perception, what do you think? What networking is? Yep, that would be, because they've asked.
Cool. So my networking a couple of months ago was going to physical events, meeting with my peers through there. You talked about coffee conversations, meeting people for a cup of coffee, having lunch with people. That was how we did things. Now we no longer have that. So we've had dinner with our extended family over a live event. I've been speaking to my peers on live events. I've been talking to you on a couple of different platforms, recording videos, using these online platforms like Chipkoo. I think we're going to have to do a lot more of that. I think a lot of the technology is very immature. A lot of our thinking and practices need to mature. But I don't see why we can't do more networking and do more collaborative. We've been doing quizzes online, and we've had dinners online, and I've connected with colleagues. And I was supposed to be going to a couple of conferences, and those have been done live. And they all work pretty well if you're used to doing it. But I think there's some learning that we all need to do to make that effective.
Because completely new, right? That's why we call it a new normal. We don't know how it looks like, but that's based on what we're expecting. Until we don't give, how we can't understand what could be the expectation from someone if you're doing it digitally. Makes sense. So do you think, in your personal understanding and what you have seen so far, do you think it is important to have connection in new normal world after a month or so?
I think it's going to be even more important to be connected because of that. The more it's harder to be physically together. So linking up on online platforms, collaborating on online platforms, posting videos, getting involved in blogs. I think all of those things are going to be important and more important. And I'm sure we're going to learn new tricks and things as we get better at this. But I think there's a couple of people. You want to be connected with your peers so that you're collaborating with them. You need to find where your next job is going to come from. So who's going to be the person that's employing you? You need to connect with that population. I think you need to decide what industry you're working in. And an industry like mine, the security industry, it goes across a number of other traditional industries. So do I want to be in the security industry, in the hospitality and leisure? Or do I want to be in security in an insurance company, for instance? Right now, probably the latter. I think focusing how you collaborate, I think, is going to be important as well. So not just broadly collaborating, but really getting focused on I want to target that company. I want to target that group of individuals. I want to find my next boss. I want to be visible to my next boss so he finds me as much as I have to go and find him or her.
True. Just like and making sure we have
So yeah,
updated profile on LinkedIn, because that's the normally we, or as a professional community, we normally follow. So it would be definitely indeed it would be good. And there are a few considerations when we do networking. Make sure we minimize contact with negative people because it feels negative, right?
yeah,
That's that recession we talk about. But yeah, we can maximize our interaction with those who can refuel our energy, right? By
yeah,
doing this, I believe personally, which I have seen, that it could, we need to identify who are those people who could be positive, who have positive vibes, who could be an
yeah,
anchor, or who could be engine. We need to identify, so if so we can, they can push us. And we need to see first of our in personal our connection, and then the wider connection. So definitely, and it would be good. And if we prioritize our expectations, what we are looking for, who could be the best person, and how we interact. And one of the issues we have seen, especially in Pakistan and South Asian countries, that we are by nature shy, introvert. So what do you think, Nick? What will be the best way to speak with them, to come out from our comfort zone? Because there are so many restrictions. Our family, we start believing what will happen if she or he, they don't like us, if they don't want to talk. We start assuming and giving answers in our mind before we take a step out from our comfort zone. What do you think?
yeah.
What would be your suggestion for those people?
Yeah, I think there's a number of things you've covered there. I mean, I want to just start by saying, you know, mental health is going to be an important part of
Yes,
this
indeed. Yeah.
as we go forward. You know, we're used, even if we're introverted, we are used to kind of, you know, being around people, interacting people, having physical contact with
Hmm.
people, and that's changed. So I think you talked a lot about, you know, associating yourself with positive people, with energy. I think that's very important. So, you know, find those people that lift you up, lift other people up as well. You know, so be part of the solution, not the problem. Um, if you're an introvert, you know, maybe actually this new online world is easy for introverts because you're not always completely visible, and you can record things, you can look at them, you can re-record them, and then you can post them.
Hmm.
So you know there's opportunities to do things differently, and I think you know there's no reason to be shy about collaborating. You know, recording your first video is hard. Recording your
True.
second video is a little bit easier. Doing your
True.
first interview is very hard. Doing your second
That's
interview is a
really
little bit
good. The
easier.
practical
So,
thing is
you know, a
true.
little bit of practice and all of this will change. So, you know, I don't think that being introverted, I think one of the things that I observed when I was in Pakistan last with you, what was there was a massive desire to learn. There was a massive desire to promote. And there was a, you know, I think there was a very digital aspect to a lot
Saving.
of our
Yeah.
conversations. There was a desire to do that, and you know, I come from Southern Africa, and again, we thought we were behind in some of the world's
Hmm.
technologies, and so we were so much more
Yeah.
aware of that, and I think you know that's what I observed in Pakistan, and I think you know that curiosity that. Perhaps there's a natural skill set there as well, you
Hmm.
know, around some of this digital. Certainly, with the younger generations, you know, a lot of the stuff that we had to learn just comes naturally to younger folks. So,
Hmm.
I think there's real opportunity, and you know, there might have been physical barriers in the past where you know you couldn't get a visa to go here, and it was difficult to get a job. I think
Hmm.
now that the skill sets are going to be well, because I don't have to go into the office in the UK. Why do you have to employ
Hmm.
someone from the UK? Why don't you employ someone from Pakistan? Maybe they're slightly cheaper. Maybe they've got better skills. It's I think that marketplace is going to change. So you know I think as ever, educating yourself, building those skills, connecting
Hmm.
with the right people, using that positive energy. You know, if you don't succeed, try something else. So, you know, I think there's a number of different things that you can do
Yeah.
to be seen, to be heard, to be known. Become an expert. Become an expert in whatever it is that you
Yeah.
do. Um, so connect with other experts, collaborate with other experts, blog with other experts, get into conferences and have ask questions, get known. I think all of those things will help. And with those physical barriers not there at the moment, I think there's a real opportunity for folks in other countries to get into places where perhaps there was barriers in the past.
Because absolutely rightly said, Nick, that we can situation changes, right? We don't know what will happen tomorrow, but we have to be prepared that whatever situation is, that we have to treat as an opportunity rather than seeing the negative
Yeah,
side. So if we see as an opportunity, if perfect to do have rehearsal at home, just see ourselves in video, in audio, make sure we have a firm understanding what we are going to expect by interacting with others. What are the script I'll be speaking in front of them? So that's in relation with that. What do you think? Anything specific? What interpersonal skills do we need to have a catchy conversation with these professionals? What do you expect if someone asks, if there's any bachelor's or master's student come to you? What do you think? What you would be expecting from him or her
yeah.
if someone wants to build a network?
Yeah, sure. So I think you need to think about who you're connecting with to start off
Okay,
with.
the background.
So,
Okay,
we're not just walking down the street and bumping into somebody.
yeah,
You're
true.
going to somebody's office, right?
Yeah.
So, that would be the physical analogy. So if you were going to go to somebody's physical office, what would you prepare before you went? Well, you'd have a reason for going. You might have a question that you want to ask. You might have something that you want to tell them. Well, it's no different online in the digital world. So prepare, think about the conversation, think
Mhm.
about the outcomes that you want from the conversation, and then think about the questions that are going to be open-ended and get you to those outcomes. I think the other thing is to keep it quite short and snappy. I think shorter and snappier it works better online because you don't have as much of the
The-
physical. There's less of the physical dialogue and more of the um,
the
we
way
can
we
see
need to
faces
work.
and we can see mouths, but we don't see all the body language.
But
So
yes.
I think keeping it slightly shorter is always good. But yeah, I think planning and making sure you know what you want to be your outcome. And if you don't get the outcome that you expect, reflect on that and go, why didn't I get that outcome? What happened that didn't work? Is it something that
Mhm.
I did? Did I not come across well? And then go away and try again.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks, Nick. So that's it for today. Any specific advice you would like to share with your audience? Because our audience is student professionals or who would like to make their career decisions. Would you any suggestion would be perfect for them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's an exciting time to be a student or be coming out of being a student. Whilst it might feel daunting, whilst you might worry about jobs, I think there's a lot of online opportunity which feeds into the current situation. I think it's very important to have a plan, to know where you
Mm,
want to go, what kind of industry do you want to work in, what type of job do you
mm,
want to do, and then start to narrow down who do you need to speak to, how do you connect that network, how do you use platforms like Chipkoo to interact, and don't be shy to ask questions and don't be shy to
mm,
connect to people, and I think about always, if you were connecting with me, how would I see you? If I'm connecting with you, how do you see me? Always think about it from the other
yeah.
person's perspective. And I think, those are some of the things that will help. So happy to answer any questions, happy to have another session. If folks want to gather some questions together, we can certainly do that. And we can have a broader interaction with more people if we like.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Nick. You're completely right, Nick. So I think Ginny is out of the bottle now. Basically, when we release from this great pause or this lockdown in the new normal world, we'll be seeing a move toward a synergy between as a hybrid approach between physical networking and digital networking.
Yeah.
But let me recap that by saying that today, more than ever, we need networking because the worst thing we could do is stop connecting with others. So because realistically we don't have that much power to change or control the future, but we can influence, and the more we do influence, as a byproduct comes to us. So that's we do. That's why Nick Chipkoo is here. We provide opportunity to all of our audience to have mentors and professionals right next to them, so they can understand, they can have a better understanding in making informed decision. So thank you so much, Nick, for your offer. Definitely I'll pass this to all of our audience, and I'll come back with a couple of a few mentees, and then we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much, Nick.
Very
It
good.
was absolutely been
Thanks, Rehan.
great pleasure to have you. Thanks. Take care.
Good
Bye
to
bye.
see you. Cheers. Bye bye. Bye.